you, Michael, for accepting the invitation.
No problem.
So we have Michael, who knows about investing in London. He's an expert in this market and a strategy in particular, the house hacking strategy. So, Michael, can you give us a little bit a brief intro about yourself so we can get situated?
My name is Michael Clark. I've been investing, I guess, in real estate for approximately 4 years, just under 4 years. I started off like $50K in bad debt with like a 400 credit score. And then I met a lady and she said, "Hey, I own this building, you're sitting in 13 other ones, and you can do this too." And I was like, "Tell me more, please." And then she introduced me to a gentleman named Matt Geertz, and he told me to knock on doors, and I did. And now I own some duplexes, I've done some flips, and I'm out of debt, and my life has changed, essentially.
Right on. Thank you, Michael. So it's a story of resilience with humble beginnings. Can you expand on that and where you started from and how you broke through that and didn't stay there?
So, humble beginnings, yeah. So it's a dramatic story. I'll save it for another time. I'm sure we all want to get home in the terrible weather. But so I ended up in London after when I met Anne in Kitchener, and she told me to message some people like Matt McKeever, Jeff Wildbow, Matt Geertz, like all these guys. I messaged all these guys, never met them before, and the only one word response was Matt, right? So at the time, I think I owned like 2 pairs of jeans, 1 sweatshirt. I had like holy shoes, and there's this like place in London. It's in Old Soho, and then upstairs is 8 rooms with no kitchen. And I slept there, I had no furniture, I had no nothing, just those clothes. And then I came to Matt's investors meet up. I actually met Travis and Liesl there. Just one day's like, find me a lead and I'll show you how to invest in real estate. And I was like, "What's a lead?" "What do you mean, what's a lead?" And he's like, people that want to sell their property. I'm like, okay. And I'd walk outside, I'm like, "Oh, for sale. John Cash, or Paul Cash. Hey, here we go, man. Can I get paid now?" He's like, "No, it's not how it works." I'm like, "What do you mean?" So then I started to go Messenger. "Hey, anybody selling their house?" And, this building's about to be set for sale." I'm like, "Oh, really? I can have that person's number." I've never done this before. "Hey, you got this? Oh, you're selling your building. Oh, amazing. Hey, man, here we go." He's like, then Matt's like, "Okay, talk to this person." This person's like, "Yeah, it's not a deal, man." So anyway, long story short, a lot of no's, a lot of doors slammed in my face, a lot of police getting called on me for knocking at doors in the night with looking like a homeless person, and just kept at her. And then after 8 months, I found my first hoarder house, and Matt bought it. We flipped it, and it's good.
Story of hustling.
Yeah, I knocked on a couple of doors in my time. And the lockdown, it was the thick of COVID. I remember like door knocking one night, and winter time it gets dark quick, right? Door knocking, and then wake up the next morning, and like I didn't own like a TV or nothing. I slept on the floor in an air mattress. It's like I didn't know nothing was going on in the news. Nothing about this stuff. Like all this COVID, all this stuff, I had no idea about it, right? Also, I remember going out to go door knocking the next day, and the streets of London were just dead. But I'm out there, I'm knocking on doors. "Hey, don't you sell their house?" And like you'd be surprised, but like so many people were very cool and nice about it. So many people were very like welcoming, like, "Wow, you want to talk to me?" Nobody wants to talk to me for some reason. And I'm like, "Oh, yeah, cool, I get it, I'm sorry." Yeah.
So from all this prospecting work, what were your main takeaways and lessons on how to do it well and get some leads? What did you learn?
So, like Stefano said, right, to start off in real estate, that's actually why I asked that question as well to Paul, his name was?
Joel, yeah.
Joel, sorry. It's when you start off in real estate, you gotta have time or money. Right? I was at a position in my life where I had time, right? So, in my opinion, door knocking is gonna be the best way for a person to find leads, because I find you come across people that they're not paying attention to the market, they're not paying attention to TV, they don't care, they're own their house they bought for $6,000 50 years ago when they play crosswords every day, and like they don't care. They're like, "Oh sure, I'll sell you my broken down house for $100K. Really? You'll buy this off me for $100K? Wow, right?" Like, and of course there's like moral, like there's like a moral line, right? Like you don't want to like steal somebody's house out from under them, right? It's all about like being able to sleep at night and stuff, right? But like I just found that like you always knock on the door, you never know who you meet. You know, oh, this person might own a construction company, or this person might have $750,000 equity in their home that they're willing to pull out and invest with you. This person knows somebody that's this person's like there's you knock on doors, it's like this, but like here we all know we're here to network investing style. You knock on doors, you never know who you're gonna network with, right?
Mm-hmm. And so you had some mentors along the way, and what were some of the key takeaways from what they were telling you that really stuck with you? And
so, like mentor is like it's a great community, right? It's like everybody helps each other as long as you want to put the work in and help other people, of course, right? Like so. With Matt, it was like Ann introduced me to Matt. I'm sure Anna, if I had stayed in Kitchener, Ann would have been more of my mentor, would have been more hands-on with her, but her investing strategy was a lot different than Matt's. Now, Matt was great because I was at a point in my life where it was like, he's like, hey, I suggest you do this, and then I wanted it, so I did it, right? But that key takeaway was just like learn the books, like you're saying, work on the mindset. You have like. If you want it, you gotta get it, right? Or else like it's not gonna get itself, right? You gotta go and other good takeaways was just a lot, right? Like I had never read a book in my life, right? Well, I have, right? But you know, like not. I don't know how to say this, but not like not like oh hey, it's Friday night. I'm not gonna go get wasted. I'm gonna go lay in this air mattress on this empty room and I'm gonna listen to this book rather than go out to the bar and try to meet a girl or something like that, right? So a lot of the key takeaways are just like, yeah, the education's there, it's free. If you want it, go get it. People will help you as long as you're willing to help them and help yourself.
And meeting so many people, knocking on doors, did you have some sentences you would use so that people would accept to talk to you? Did you create a script, or how did you do that?
That was one of the first things that Matt actually said. He's like, create a script, and by the time you're done knocking on her doors, it will be the same thing. And actually, and that's very true. And it's like, I can write down all the scripts in the world, but I'm gonna choke on the spot and forget what I wrote down, and I'm just gonna, you know, that's me, right? Like,
and so knocking on doors, what's the best story you got? What was the best deal you found doing that?
The best deal I found doing that, it's odd because like I knocked on doors for 8 months and nothing, and then 2, and then the year happened, something happened in my life where it's like I feel like the average person would have quit and been like kind of embarrassed, right? But I was like whatever, and I just kept going anyway. I had nothing really to lose. I'd already lost most stuff that I had, and then like all of a sudden, almost like 6 deals just like came to me from all the work I put in for that first year. But the best deal, it's like what do you mean? Like best deal as in like, could you elaborate on the question, please?
Yeah. For example, like it could be a dollar value, like okay. Really had a great discount, and it was a win-win where the other party was happy to sell it at this price, or a story that you got a deal done, but also a connection happened where.
I think there's a question later on that I'd like to tie that into with, but I guess if you're gonna put on a dollar value and making a win-win for the landlord / investor that sold it to me and Matt, 150 Adelaide Street, duplex, shared parking lot with the house next door that looked like it was falling over. Got that tied up. I couldn't wholesale it because everybody was like, "What are we gonna do with this? With this next door to it falling over so ugly like this?" And then Matt just called. I don't know what he. Oh yeah, I guess the owner had this guy's number, and then we just were like, "Hey, want to sell us that place?" He's like, "For how much?" For like 100K. He's like, "Yeah." So we got both properties on a double lot for 280. We held it for 90 days and we sold it and made 80K. and with knowing nothing, just held it in hot market. And then the person that purchased it knocked both those properties over. They have it listed for $1 million. And that's zoned to build 12 units, multi-purpose.
Wow. And could you define the word wholesaling for the audience and the people that may not know it?
Wholesaling is selling the rights to buy a property to somebody else, or having the rights to buy a property and then assigning who's going to be on the title and then charging an assignment fee. That's my understanding of it. Was that good?
Mm-hmm.
Does that sound about right?
Makes sense. Thank you. Facing rejection and sales and so sales, everything is sales. So you must have learned quite a few lessons from doing everything you've been doing all these years, the hustling. And I'd like to know that, just like Joel was saying, persistence. You've been extremely persistent, and it reminds me when I sometimes we have these calls. It's called 7 to 8. How people make it from 7-figure to 8-figure, and very often it's a hockey stick curve where grinding, and then all of a sudden the payoff.
Mm.
So what were your takeaways from in terms of sales and being good at sales?
I'm pretty hard on myself, so like to title myself good at sales, it's like I gotta work on not comparing myself to other people when it comes to things that people have more experience than I do. But like, I don't know, I think based off like my appearance and since I was probably about 12 years old, I've done sales in some sort of way that I have a little bit to do, right? But like, if you ask about facing rejection, it's like when you're cold calling or knocking on doors, you're gonna get that, right? Like people don't like it, right? Like they don't understand, right? Like they don't realize like, hey man, I'm just working. Like you go to work, it's gonna hammer and get paid hourly. I go to work and I make a couple phone calls, knock on some doors, and get paid by the deal closing, right? Like but to face rejection, you gotta keep going, right? You gotta let it roll off your shoulders.
Do you personally?
You can't,
And in terms of creativity, you have done a lot of creative strategies to purchase real estate. Can you mention some of them, defining them, and why you've used them?
Creative deal finding, like door knocking, in my opinion, it is creative, right? I would go to MLS or flyers or bandits or whatever the case is. And then I'll reflect on like my eighth deal, which is the one I capped, which is my duplex. And it was a win situation for me and my friend Brenda, who sold it to me. We still go for dinner today. We still, right? Like I think I tried to call her. She still gets mail to my house, and I call her, hey, I got your mail. And so how we structured that one was, I tied up for $280. Matt helped me write the first offer that I actually sat down. Like he sent me every offer we did, he would send me copies of it. But like I'm so busy, just hustle, door knock. I'm not even reading this stuff, right? That and like I have a tablet and I have a cell phone, so it's like the stuff I'm like, what is this, man? Okay, thanks, buddy, right? So yeah, I go to Matt's like, so it's like I knocked on the door. Matt Scott, he's big flipper. He's out in Mexico right now, actually.
Yeah, I'm friends with that.
Awesome. So that was like I met him. I connected with him at the same meetup that I met Travis and Liesel, and he told me we'd set on habits. Off topic, sorry. I was doing demo work with him, just like, and then after instead of letting him give me a ride home, I'd go door knocking. Right, so make a little bit of cash, go door knocking. So it was at Egerton and right before Palm Mills and Hamilton, and then I walk and I door knock all these, and I cut down and knock on the door. The lady comes out and so I'm like, hey, do you know anybody from there? She's like, I'll sell you my house. And I'm like, great. Sweet. So 2 weeks, month, don't hear go by again. A year later, like after I pretty much forgot about her house. Like whatever, right? Like just I asked my friend. I'm in London. I'm new. I got a couple friends, but like people that I meet, and like everybody in this world is busy. Right? Like we're all working, right? Like so we don't got time to like, hey, Mike, how you doing today? Oh, great, right? So I don't got a lot of friends, and I'm working a lot and I'm learning a lot. So we go for dinner and lunch, whatever. And finally one day she's like, yeah, I'll sell you my house now. I'm like, Oh yeah? So yeah, but I don't think you wanna buy it. I'm like, no? She's like, well, it's like, Sean gonna write the paper. She's like, don't you wanna see it? I'm like, yeah, I do wanna see it, right? Cause like usually like, Matt's mentoring me, like he's guiding me through these things, right? So finally we go to our house and she's like, yeah, I use the upstairs dining room and living room as my bedroom, and I use the downstairs unit bathroom, and so like he's like, there's like it was a mess, and it was a mess, right? So I tied it up for $280, and I said, okay, 200 in first position, 80 in second, BTB, vendor take back mortgage. Everybody knows vendor take back mortgages, BTB, yeah. At 1.5 for 2 years, no penalties to break it early.
So VTB is a vendor take back, just for those who don't know. So the seller carries the note. It's not the bank, it's the seller. So there is a lien registered against title for an amount and interest rate, and it's just like a mortgage, but it's the seller.
And then when she got her money in first, 150, and I went back to work with my unionized masonry construction job, Layuna, as a laborer, and make pretty good, $40 an hour, whatever it is. So then I could qualify for a mortgage for her 200 first, and then once she got her 200 first, she lent me 50K, no notes, no interest, just here you go, 50K to renovate. So then me and my good friend Tim, who works at Dan, except for I'm sitting with Matt and Daryl, and we're having our little COVID meetups because trade was done, and Matt's like, yeah, residential's all good and everything, but I make a bunch of money, and then my plumbing goes, and then I lose all my money. I'm like, Then Daryl's like, oh man, there's number 2 leaking through the ceiling in this other unit of mine because the toilet and plumbing went. I'm like, So I just ripped out everything, plumbing, everything, just myself and Tim, demoed it by ourselves. Old cast iron and pipe. Did all that, anything mechanical, plumbing, roofs, splitting meters, and electrical. Subbed out. Everything else, flooring, mud, tape, drywall, finishing plumbing fixtures. Me and Tim did, the 2 of us. And we thought we were doing 6 months. I don't work in masonry construction during the day, right? So I had this nice rental. Beautiful rental, I rented a room out in Masonville on Ambleside, master, ensuite, furnished everything, so I had to throw everything out of the old place because I found accumulating a bed, the couch, then the bed bugs, everything, so I had to throw everything out, right? Moving this place, but then I see my bank account going. So I better move into this renovation, so I'm talking I come home filthy from work, I'd work, go to sleep, just filthy, wake up filthy, work some more, go to work, and it was a good time, right? Anyway, so me and Tim got that done in 10 months. I went from top out. Now I moved into by the time those tenants moved in, I went to the bottom, and that wasn't finished. Same thing, but then I made it habitable, got my appraisal, 550, refinanced, and I was supposed to rent these 2 rooms out where I lived. However, I was tired and burnt. I just laid on the couch. I didn't even finish the trim, no bathroom door, just for a good year maybe. But I feel like I found another wholesale deal, whatever. The only reason why I finished the room, so that's what the house hacking king comes in, okay? This is how I hold the title. I'll explain right now, right? It's all ties. All this long story ties in, and I'm just gonna answer the next question, right?
Nicely.
Thank you. So, the old duplexes, unit, front door, unit, door, stairs, shared laundry room, door, unit, 2 up, 2 down. We're at 3, okay? So now I take this laundry room and I took all the flooring, trim and make it a nice room. Not a big room, but a nice, it's a room, right? And the panels are in there, the shut off are upstairs and the second hydro panel. Finish all this and then I rent. So when I get this new one under contract, Dane was actually trying to buy himself. This guy wouldn't budge from 260. Tried to tell me 200. I went in there and the place was, he tried to tell me 262. And I went in there when it was empty and the floors were, so I'm like, see you later, buddy, right? He's like, what will we pay him? I'm like, 200. He's like, I can do 200. I'm like, okay, conditional on financing. Give me 45 days. And I told the whole, well, how do we make my conditions? I can't, if I can only give you 190. And then the whole story where I couldn't wholesale it because the market changed. It wasn't just like, hey, I got this deal. Everybody's like, I want it. I'm like, or I was like, hey, I got this deal. People were like, oh, I don't know. I didn't know how to use Google Drive. I didn't know how to use my computer at all. I had a laptop, but I didn't know how to use it. Right? Like Matt would be like, oh, Google Drive, right? Anyway, so to carry that mortgage, right? Then so this unit carries the house. I'm living for free, down inside my nice little 2-bedroom. Now for this new one, I need more capital, more cash flow. So I rent this out, live in this little laundry room as I rent these 2 rooms out to carry that one. Right? So I'm cash flowing. So this was paying my mortgage, that was paying the other one. I'm living in this little room. And right, that just ended. So now I'm like, I live inside the 2-bedroom. I have my girlfriend lives with me, and like she helps too. And like so, I'm not as big as the cash or the house at King as I was about 3 months ago. But I'll tell you, for like 8 months straight, I lived in that little laundry room. I couldn't even shut the door properly. You really had to like. I had a queen size. I just fit it in there, and I'm like, oh, the door wouldn't close. Put it there, I'm like, this room's gonna be $900 to $800. Put the double in there, close. A little bit uncomfortable. My dresser's in the hallway. Still is. I don't want to move it. House hacking, right?
Cool. So can you define house hacking? So you've given an example. So how would you define it for those who are not familiar with it?
Getting it done by any means necessary. I think that would be the best. That's what no, house hacking is like renting out other spaces in your living area to make your expenses less than or zero.
Does that make sense? And why is it such an important strategy in a market like London, for example?
Because the purchase price, right? Purchase prices right now, if you're not going to go to door knock or find something that you're going to spend $80,000 on fixing, right? You're going to pay, right? Even an apartment, technically. So if you can get a 3-bedroom house with a finished basement, even you live in the basement and rent these 3 rooms out to students, furnished for $1,000 a piece, that's going to pay your rent. You're going to live for free, and then what? Right, like your living expenses is like that alone, your rent or your mortgage, whatever. That's 50% of your income. So now you can buy Starbucks every day if you want. Not have to worry about it.
Well, looking back at those years, what would you do differently?
Nothing. No, like I'm full of gratitude from like where I am, and like I'm very appreciative where I am, and like I'm in a great position now. I got a lot of great friends. I've had a lot of great people like help me and teach me along the way, and I've also helped a lot myself too, right? Like, so it's good, right? Like I try to live like the best to my ability, like without regrets, right? So, but if I was to give somebody advice, I would say, just start sooner. Don't be afraid, and like find somebody that knows what they're doing, and see if you can add value to them in whatever way you can. Exchange for knowledge.
And if you so now you can mentor people. You know a lot about investing strategies, and what would be the biggest piece of advice you'd give someone?
Investment strategies. Let's start off with the house hack. Start off with the way to cut your living expenses down, because some say like don't focus on saving money, but focus on making more money. But if you can save money like that while making more money, you're gonna be a head start of a lot of people that, right? Like sacrifice space. You gotta sacrifice. Like it's if you're not sacrificing your space, you're gonna sacrifice your savings. And if you're not saving, then you're not gonna be investing, right? Unless you find deals. And I find like I don't know. I have arguments with, well, not arguments, but debates that deals not like the most crucial part of the real estate transaction, but like I will always claim it is, right? Like, so yeah, I guess if I'm going to give advice or to somebody, learn how to find deals privately, not by like anybody can scroll the MLS or whatever it's called, or realtor.ca. Anybody can do that, right? Go out and find yourself, like, you find one deal, and it's a deal, 40 cents on the dollar, it'll change your life. It'll change your life.
Yeah, and it's basically asymmetry of information. You know stuff about the market that they don't know, and that's the way you can find properties at a lower amount than the dollar. Well, thank you so much, Michael. Do people have any questions for Michael?
Yeah, I have one. Did you stay in the London area when you wholesale, or do you try and kind of roam different areas?
I did. I've done for wholesaling, but remember at first I worked with Matt. It was me, Matt, and his assistant. Right. That's another thing. Work on a team. Like, so once Matt retired and left, it was just me. It was a lot. Like, it's a lot of work. It's not easy. Okay, like it's a lot, right? So it's a 4-person job, easy wholesaling one deal, depending on your volume. But I think I did 3. So yeah, like my lead, I was on lead gen, right? 3 in London, 1 in Ilderton, 1 in St. Thomas. So yeah, St. Thomas, Ilderton, like, and it was like actually crazy. Like I just went to St. Thomas one day. It was a rainy day, and I went door knocking. I found the lead, and then it was a great deal. And Ryan bought it, Delarantis, he bought it. And then Ilderton, like some girl I was talking to, she's like, "Oh, my cousin used to sell this house," and this crazy dramatic story. I was like, "Give me his number." Called him up, and I think we got it under contract for $425. Sold it for like $525, and like the guy renovated and sold it and made like $800 in the hot market. So it was a really good deal.
Do you just wholesale, or do you do that like BRR thing? Like, what's your take on it? Because from what my understanding is, it's kind of like a house of cards, like refinancing constantly to pay for the next project. So if like you have bad tenants and they don't pay, and like you refinance for a lot more, so like the rent has to obviously cover, you know, the projected amount. So do you do that, or do you have any opinion on it, or do you say don't do it?
Oh, do it.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
Right, but now if you want good tenants.
Oh, I know.
Michelle, she get good tenants.
Yeah.
No, so like like it's challenging. It's more challenging now to not have money left in the deal.
Yeah.
So if you're borrowing private money, like make sure that you let your investor or your partner know, like, hey, you're probably gonna have some money left in the deal. How Zach does it? How many Zach does like, when we refi whatever money out of the deal, cash flow goes to you till your money's out of the deal, and then we split it after.
Okay.
Right.
So when you refinance, you don't refinance for like the full value, like the full appraised new value, full market value?
So right now different banks are doing different things with interest rates and the way things have changed.
Yeah.
I heard Scotia's implementing, if you have an 800 credit score, you can get 80 to 100 loan to value. MLS Select on huge multifamilies, they'll do 95 depending on like the structure of the building. It's got baseboard heat, low rent, energy efficient, things like that. Right now it's a challenge. Like right now it's challenging because rates.
Yeah.
Right, like interest rates are up.
Yeah.
So like when I did that, like I slid into home base and fixed that 5.4. Thankfully, as rates were just rising, right?
Yeah.
So it was a stressful event, the burr that I did, because you know.
Yeah.
It was good though.
And then so at the end of it, like the goal is you basically do get rid of that deal and then just keep kind of growing that equity that you keep pulling out, or do you kind of keep the first deal like you did? And that's why I thought it was maybe like a house of cards, because if you keep the first deal and then people, you know, aren't paying, or you don't know Michelle, then you can't cover all these mortgages, right?
So
or you start like offloading these properties.
Yeah, you have to ask yourself like what like what's your goal? What's your why? What do you want to do?
Yeah.
Like, do you want a duplex? Do you want a fourplex? Do you want to start with a 10-unit building? Like,
yeah, you want to go into, you know, warehouses and storage buildings like, you know, James Fernandez.
Yeah. So yeah,
it doesn't have to be a house of cards.
Okay.
The whole idea with Burr is to build a portfolio, and you invest initially, then you refinance. You don't have to refinance and leverage to the max. You can refinance so that you get just your initial equity back, and then you can invest in the next deal, and yeah, it doesn't have to end bad, and yeah, either you know Michelle or or you talk to her and you make sure that you screen your tenant's property so they don't have bad surprises, especially in provinces or states that are like Ontario, where it's more difficult to when you have a delinquent tenant to get rid of them if they don't pay. Because is that something you'd like to do?
I mean, anything's on the table. I mean, I've known Michelle for over probably almost 2 decades now. And I'm constantly looking at opportunities, and I have a couple of multi-families, and, you know, I have equity that I can reinvest. So, you know, nothing's off the table if there's good deals. I've got quite a lot of equity because I sold one of my duplexes and paid off my own mortgage, basically. So, I'm in a good place. So,
Nice.
yeah.
Good for you.
And it's important to do the underwriting properly, like run the numbers and also
Exactly.
stress test, you know,
Yeah.
vacancies and the interest rates, you know, if they go much higher or not. Any further questions for?
Yeah, so this one is just taking it back. You know, you mentioned you and your friend renovated the apartment you bought. I would love to know for someone like myself or any young person just trying to get into the real estate business. You know, when you buy the first house and it's in a bad condition, the thing that's gonna like sink your money the most is the renovation, especially if you are gonna outsource the renovation. So you having the knowledge about the things to renovate and how to go about it, it was a major advantage for you. So because it saved you a lot of money, even though it took a longer time for you to finish renovating, but it actually saved you a lot of money because you knew what you wanted to do. So for a young person just trying to get into the renovation business, what skill do you think in the renovation sector, what skill do you think is the most important, that if the person acquires the skill or knows that particular skill, is gonna save the person a lot of money? Yeah, it's gonna be a very, very good cost reduction skill or cost reduction method. For example, is it the flooring that's the most important, that takes money the most, or which aspect can kind of yeah.
So you're asking me what renovations are key to making your value go up, and so like if you understand properly, so flooring, paint, kitchen, bathroom.
Yeah. So what aspects of the renovation kind of takes most of the money? Yeah.
So when you're buying your first property, you want to try to avoid anything mechanical going wrong. If you find a property that's a fair price and has nothing it's like mechanically sound, so your plumbing works, your electrical works, your HVAC works, and your roof's not leaking, you're off to a good start.
Yeah. So which of those ones are cost the most if you're trying to repair?
They're electrical for sure. Electrical for sure. You know what? You can even.
Because I just do like a whole plumbing I'm turning my duplex into a triplex, and all the services are in the basement, so I had to redo the whole house, and my plumbing bill was way more than my electrical bill, so it just depends on, you know,
How
obviously.
much? How much material?
Yeah, I should have started in the basement unit, but I've been there over 10 years, and it just kind of evolved as I had money to do it, and now we're finally doing the 3rd unit. And it's very expensive for like a 2-room unit, and like if you put the dollar value on the square footage, but really it's because it should have been done before, and it's a 120-year-old house, so it all depends. But yes, anything, I would have to agree on that, anything mechanical.
Well, electric for my project was because I split the meters. I added an extra hydrometer, and just for the upper unit, the meter service was like 20,000, and then like another 10, right? So if you're going to get into flipping, you want a construction background, doing something like having a renovations company or any type of plumbing, HVAC, any of that stuff is a great thing to have, right? Because you're gonna know people from the construction site, like or you're gonna know people from the investors, and yeah, anything like that, right? But time is money. Like I messed up because I'm like, oh, I can do this myself in my buddy. If I had just got Jason to do it, it made it seem like I paid more money, but I would have got done in 3 months, refinance, and it's still cheaper, and put a bigger tax-free check in my pocket, right? Time is money. Long story short.
You just mentioned tax-free. Well, can you explain that to everybody?
Well, if you, like, with the BRRRR strategy,
Yeah.
if, you know, the rates are right, the deal is purchased properly, and you get it done on time, and all your numbers are ran correctly, and you do a whole 80 to 80 LTV, loan to value, 80% loan to value, and then, so, you purchased at this, you spent this much, your carrying costs are here, and let's say that's 300, you appraised that 6, and you pull out 80% of that 6, that extra money, the bank's gonna write you a check, and you're not earning that money, so you don't get taxed on it. You've borrowed that money, so it's tax-free.
But when you do sell eventually, then you're probably taxed on it, or you just
They
don't
don't.
worry about it now?
Sam's coming for you.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
he's
yeah,
hungry.
exactly. You just wait till you're, over 65 and on a fixed income, and then it won't hurt you so
Well,
bad.
it's debt,
Yeah.
so you won't be charged tax on it.
Okay, because you're constantly, basically always refinancing, so on paper, it's like you're always.
Well, the money that
technically
gets put into your account is actually part of the mortgage.
Right,
So when you sell the house, the mortgage gets cleared and the money stays in your account.
The
Right.
capital gains tax, I
Yeah,
calculated
yeah.
on the purchase price,
Yeah.
not the refi.
okay, oh, okay, so if you refi at 80% loan to value, they're not looking at, what you bought it for in the first place, so if it's better to refi before you sell kind of thing, pull out that cash, that equity, and then you're only paying like capital gains on the 20%, is that,
Yeah.
am I understanding that right?
Yeah, you are. That is what you should
That's
do.
amazing, I love this,
That's part of the BRRRR strategy,
okay,
the refinance.
then I just don't know enough about it, I guess,
You do now.
but I'm learning,
Yeah.
this is great, no, it's great
So we're doing
information,
this.
Refinance everything.
yes,
Big balloon mortgage, sell it all. Wait till rates go down.
yes,
That's what I would
that's
do.
great.
Any further questions?
When it comes to cold calls, you said you had a bit of a background in sales. So if someone doesn't have a background in sales and let's say approaching people or knocking on doors, is there a particular way to learn it? Or I think you mentioned something 7 Habits book. I don't know whether it was paramount to achieve that skill.
I have a couple of answers to that. So, 7 Habits is just a book it's called 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. It's just a good way to get a regimen and be organized and do these things to be successful type thing. And that brings me to the topic of the first book Matt Gears told me to read is called How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. And I read that probably once a year. And that's a huge book, right? But now, door knocking in sales, you're going to learn how to get comfortable with people. You're gonna learn how to overcome your fears, and you're just gonna learn how to talk to people, right? Just don't be like me and not let other people talk, right? You gotta, and then so just do it. And Nike, just do it. Just gotta do it. Man. That's it. 100 door buying 100 doors. You'll have every question that you need that's important. And you'll have your own script that you've written yourself that works, right? Like you're knocking on doors, you gotta see when you're losing people's attention and keep mental note, right? And at the end of the day, journal about it. Okay, well, I know when I start talking about these people selling their house to me. And then another great tip is don't ask them directly about their house. Ask them if they know of anybody that might be selling their house. You're welcome. Did I answer that for you?
Yes, it does.
Awesome, thanks.
And if I can just add something, I met Michael in a very strange way. Michael responded to an ad I had for a house for rent, and he shared a little bit of his story. And because we're kind of picky, he didn't really meet what we were looking for that house. But that was in 2019. But something was really interesting is in his text, he shared lots of details, but in his text he said, I am basically changing my life, and in 7 years, I'm going to own real estate. And so in 2022, he texted me back and said, can you rent out, my house? And looking back at that, there's a couple of things that really struck me. Is that one, Mike had a very clear vision in 2019 of his future, right? And he's accomplishing that vision. And the other thing is clearly surrounding yourself by people and reading books and things that changes your life, right? And puts you on the trajectory where you want to go. So.
Bravo.
Thank Thanks so
Thank you,
much.
Michael.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Appreciate it.
So now